By the time I woke up, I was in a coma for roughly about 4 weeks. They had to revive me 3 times. Well, yeah, it'll be like, hey guys. No, can't really say hey guys and then say my name's Guy. It's kind of a little weird. Back in July 2018, I was hit by a distracted, out of control driver, and it changed my life. Ever since I can remember, I was into anything that I could do something fast and stupid on, anything with a motor and tyres. Growing up, I was always on motorbikes, then starting to get my license, full drives came into it. From my first car, which was a little 2-door Suzuki Vitara, had that for a few years on my Ps. Then I stepped up into what I consider probably the best car ever made. This might be a bit controversial, the GQ Nissan Patrol. When I got my license, I was straight into 4 drives. Through school, I worked straight up, left school, got straight into an apprenticeship. I started my apprenticeship as a panel beater. Started doing my apprenticeship, focused on smash repair, but my true love was restorations, building hot rods, choppers, restoring 4 drives, because we all know rust gets everywhere. Doing that. And then once I finished my apprenticeship, that led me into starting my own business. And I was running my business for about 18 months when I got hit by the driver. Yeah, so the day of my accident, I was on my way back from town when a distracted, out of control driver went wide on a corner, overcorrected, and basically hit me as I came up over a hill. I was on a Triumph 1100 and basically got taken straight out. I was lucky in the way that the first person to get to me, the first responder, was a off-duty cop. He lived a few doors up from the site and he was the first one there. And I probably have to say that he was the reason that right in that moment is why I survived. Everything fell into place that had to. So he was the first one there when I was still bent up under the car. He released the strap on my helmet, didn't move me too much, and controlled the scene. From there, the ambulances were only 4 minutes away. They got me from the site. I then went straight into surgery. The surgeon who was there went in and we did 7 hours. Well, I laid there, but he did the work. And that was only to get me stable enough to then fly to John Hunter Hospital. Then at John Hunter Hospital, I went through many more surgeries, which in those times, I died 3 times. From there, it was probably a week or so. They then flew me from John Hunter in Newcastle to Royal North Shore Hospital ICU. And by the time I woke up, I was in a coma for roughly about 4 weeks. And when I woke up, I had no movement, no feeling, nothing below my neck. And that was basically the prognosis that I was given initially. The spinal surgeon walked in, he did a sensation test. Can you feel this? Can you feel that? Nothing. And that was what he said. He said, that's what you got, learn to live with it. And I didn't accept that. As soon as I found out that the accident wasn't my fault, I remember saying to my mum, I said, it's okay, I'll walk again. And I'm sure they all thought I was crazy in there. But that's exactly what I did, and that's what I can do. Albeit with a little bit of help, but I proved everyone that said I couldn't do it, I proved them wrong, and I made sure. So basically, there is not a single part of my body that isn't injured. In every aspect, that makes sense. So I received traumatic brain injury, I received a C4 spinal injury, I received a brachial plexus injury. Basically that means the nerves from my neck and shoulder causes the paralysis in the right arm. Mass internal injuries, liver, spleen, kidneys, lungs collapsed. I went on dialysis. My right arm was shattered, that has pins. Bones in the top of my hand were broken. Bones removed in my hand. Pelvis was broken in half, so they had to pin and plate that to put it back together. Both my femurs were shattered. I had rods down both femurs. Basically everything is affected in some way. Well, that's, I was gonna say, you might have to put a medical warning. Anyone who's a bit queasy, maybe just trigger warning at the start. In part, I've been through 29 surgeries to date. Probably another 4 months, I'll have my 30th surgery. 29 surgeries, turn 30 surgeries. Hey, what you gonna do? And within those first, I think probably 20 surgeries were within the first 4 weeks of my accident. And that's where they had to revive me 3 times. So the bike and all that was written off. It was just, me and the bike were just a mangled mess. I survived, the bike didn't. Most people wouldn't want to keep mementos from an accident like this. Whereas I see them almost as a badge of honor. I lived through that, these pieces didn't. So I keep them as a reminder that every day I can overcome something. Straight away in the mornings I say, I get to do this, not I have to do this. And that's the mentality that I try to take into everything that I do, is that it's a chance and an opportunity, and there's plenty of times that may not have happened. So we all know how easy it is to break the screen on a phone, but to actually break the phone itself, especially when it's here on your body and it forms the contour of your chest, that's a lot of force to take into yourself. Before my accident, I had a 89 Shorty Patrol. It was a TB42, petty, all the lift, tires, everything that they normally have. And I had to sell it after my accident. So once I got to a point in my recovery where I knew that getting back into a normal car was a possibility, despite everything that OTs and all that had told me, that no, you'll only ever drive from a van and it'll be from a power chair. And as a restorator and a builder, I'm like, no, I don't accept that. So soon as I was to a physical ability that I could get into a car, I said, right, I need another Shorty and we're gonna go all out on this build. So I bought a cabin chassis from Victoria, had it freighted up, and when I received it, I didn't realize it was actually a sunroof model. So I seen that and realized, oh, I need power mirrors, power windows. So I upgraded all of the panel work to a 96 model. So basically this Shorty has every option that a GQ Patrol could come out with. Then I'm like, well, I've always wanted a V8, so I had to go LS, put the 6-litre LS in there, 6-speed auto. Part of my ability with the one hand and only moderate foot control, I received my license back after doing multiple courses and that. They accepted that I can use throttle and brake as normal, but my left leg isn't as strong, so it clutches out. So we're going 6-speed auto with hand controls for blinkers, lights, all the accessories, and then just the steering control as normal. So with the LS2, 6-speed auto and some hand controls, I can drive. But for ease of access, I decided to go with the Airbag Man air ride system that allows the whole car to lower down to allow me to get into the seats easier. And then I figured, well, if it's going up and down, bushes and all that are eventually going to get worn out. So we went superior engineering. Run all drop boxes, all their Hyperflex arms, put the best of the best into it. With a spinal cord injury, you struggle to regulate your body temp. So keeping heat out of the car and keeping the car cool, I decided to go with Car Builders and their complete insulation, sound deadening, thermal insulation systems. With going all out on this car, I wanted to partner with the best in the business. So I reached out and received back so much support from all these companies. Red Arc, Superior, Pack, they have their TRE air lockers, so the car will be fully locked as well. Then Mark's 4 Drive, because of the LS conversion, their full system to make the conversion really simple. Red Arc for a 12-volt system that will allow me to charge my chair in the back of the car. And so once I'm in the car and can actually go out on trips, GME are there to support with two-way radios. So once I received the car from Victoria, I decided full metal respray. And the guys that I did my apprenticeship under and worked with throughout those 4 years, they came together and we decided on, well, if we're gonna do it, we're gonna overdo it. So full pearl paint, two-tone spray with a 350Z white pearl on top of a Lexus black pearl. So the boys came together, Dave, Michael, both Kevs, and Glenn, they all pulled together, full bare metal, full respray at Port Accident Repair Centre. So from there, it went up to Queensland to begin the LS conversion. Then I met Sam at Show Your Dirt. He said he could take on the build, and now we're here. So, and then once Sam's finished his side of everything, it comes back, gets the hoist for the wheelchair, gets all the hand controls, and then we can go out wheeling. Once it's back, we'll start doing day trips, see what I can physically handle, what we can go out doing, because with full driving, my roots are in competition and real hardcore winch challenge walls, things like that. So that is where I want to head. I want to do some gnarly stuff here in Port, out the back of Wauchope, go up to Coffs Harbour, try out their tracks. I've never done anything in Coffs. And then from there, we'll see what the future looks like. Maybe a little bit of touring. We might go out to Lithgow, do some things out there, see what happens. I'm hugely overwhelmed with the amount of support that I've received for this build. All the companies that have supplied parts, Sam at Built Not Bought for doing all the work, and just anyone who's interested in the build. To to date, it's just been so well received, and the full drive community has already gotten around before the car's even finished. So I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone who's involved, and I look forward to seeing you all out on the tracks.
Well, I'm sure you can appreciate how incredible the journey Guy has gone through since this accident. And when I spoke to him down in Sydney and heard his story, I really wanted to jump on board with this. He's had a little bit of a drama trying to get the car completed up here in Brisbane. So hopefully we'll get the thing together for him. It is going to the background. There'll be a couple of episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks as we finish this Shorty. But what I want to do, we've got a limited edition sticker now. They're $10 and 100% of the profits we're gonna put to Guy. So I want to try and raise a bit of money for him so when he gets the car, he can actually go on a trip somewhere and try and just help him out a little bit. So I'm not taking a cent from this. So if you want to grab one of those stickers, don't be that guy, whack it on the back of your car. Just a little reminder, just to be careful on the road, don't get distracted, make sure that you are doing the right thing so we don't have more accidents like this. So if you want to grab a sticker, link down below, $10, all the money will be going towards Guy. So hopefully we can help him out like that. And yeah, the only other thing, we do have the NAVARA giveaway happening this week. So double entries are this week only. So there'll be a link down below there for that as well. So jump onto the website, grab a sticker, grab a merch pack and grab a sticker for Guy as well. And we'll see you in next week's episode.